Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at an Aria Pro 2 guitar. This guitar is like a Les Paul style guitar, and what I'm going to be doing is giving it a string change and giving it a setup. While I have the strings off, I am going to give the fretboard a cleaning, and I'm probably not going to do any fret work. I did a fret leveling job on this guitar a couple years ago, and it should still be fine. I'll give them a check while I have the strings off, just in case. But I think we'll be okay there. I'll probably just give them a polish, just because they're a little dirty. But for the most part, it's fairly clean. This guitar doesn't get a lot of use. I play it occasionally, but yeah, it's fairly clean. So I don't think we'll need to do too deep of a cleaning on the fretboard. And that's about it. Oh, the other thing I did was I changed these pickups out as well. The stock pickups that came with the guitar looked like that, and I just put the gold ones on. These are Alnico 5 magnets in here. I'm not sure what's in these pickups here. I'm not really sure exactly, but these ones are definitely a little more high gain, a little hotter sounding. And also I thought the gold covers matched the gold hardware on the guitar. So let me just move you down to the headstock here. As you can see, the tuners and stuff are gold, and everything's gold on this guitar. Considering how old this guitar is, the gold hardware has got very little wear on it. It's usually the first thing to go. Like you can see, there's a little bit of wear happening here. Not a lot, but a little bit, and that's just from your hand and your palm muting and just resting your hand onto that gold. It will, wear off that gold finish over time. But that's just part of the problem with having gold plated hardware like that. But I mean, it's okay. I don't play this guitar a whole lot. Once in a while I'll bring it out because it's got kind of a unique sound, and it plays like really, really well. I can get really low action on it with no buzzing. And yeah, it's just a cool guitar. Okay, let's get started. We'll remove the old strings. When you're removing your strings on this type of a bridge and tailpiece setup, this is like a tunematic style bridge, you want to be careful once you remove the tension or cut the strings. These pieces are just loose and they'll just lift right off. So if you've never done this before, just be aware. The only thing really holding this piece down is the string tension when they're pulled up to pitch. Some bridges will have little grub screws inside here that will that you can tighten around these posts, which will prevent that from happening, but this particular bridge doesn't. So I'm just going to put that aside. And in this case, this bridge, I can't get it off because if you look closely here, you'll see that these little channels have been recessed into the body. And that's the same with this one. So I need to loosen these post pieces just a little bit in order so I can raise this tailpiece up so I can remove it to get the strings out. So a little trick I've learned is if you are Canadian like I am and grab yourself a quarter, that's a really good size to fit in these screw heads. And you won't damage anything. So well, you're going to be careful, obviously, right? Yeah, just a little bit more. Now, if you don't have a Canadian quarter, I'm not sure if an American quarter will work for any of you in the US. There we go. So you can see that recess is there too. Now, I'm going to just zoom you in really close for a second. If you look closely at the grain pattern in this wood, you'll see it also appears inside these recesses where the bridge and the stop piece were sitting. So, I mean, what that tells me is that this is a a solid piece of wood up here. I'm not sure if it's a cap on here or if it's one solid piece. But regardless, when I first saw this, I thought, oh, maybe someone had cut these in here for a reason. But it looks like this was done at the factory because you can see the shine on there. That's from the gloss finish that's been put on. And again, it's been routed in there. Looks like from the factory. So the reason they did that, I have to assume, was to allow some adjustment room on this for the bridge and the stop piece. Because if you look, let me just zoom you out a bit here. This guitar body is very flat across its entire surface here. Um, like a Les Paul, Gibson Les Paul, with the arch in the middle here, that gives, these things need to sit higher on the body. The break angle for the heel and at the headstock are different than this guitar is. So I'm assuming they did this for that reason, to allow for more adjustment in the height of the strings and stuff. I'm able to get this guitar really low action. Like, I've actually had the action at 2/64ths on the low E string with no buzzing. So it's a really solid neck, straight, and it's really put together well. The only thing is you can kind of see these little recesses with the hardware on too. Not the end of the world, but it is something that's noticeable. But at least they finished everything, so it's not, it doesn't look too bad when everything's put back on there. But okay, I'm just going to give the frets a quick check just to make sure there's no issues as far as high spots or anything. I think we'll be okay, but might as well give it a quick check by since we got the strings off. So I just want to check the neck for straightness right now. I'm just using my notch straight edge here, and looking pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, I think we're good there. This notch straight is a MusicNomad one. It's pretty cool, actually. It'll do both Gibson, PRS, and Fender scale lengths. So you've got your Fender 25.5, Gibson 24 3/4, and PRS for 25-inch. And it's also got a flat edge here for measuring the straightness or levelness of your frets. So it's quite a handy tool. I'll put links to all the tools I'm using in this video. Will be in the description. So now that we know our neck is straight, I'm just going to quickly run over the frets with my fret rocker. Okay, they're all in pretty good shape. This one here is got a little bit of a high spot. It's pretty minor. I'm just going to spot level that one. I just want to make sure it's not lifting out of the fretboard before I start taking material off the fret. So I'm just going to give it a visual. It looks like it might just be lifting a little bit. I'm going to try and tap it back down. Yeah, that seems to have taken care of it. I'll keep an eye on that one just in case if it starts to pop up again, we might have to level that. But I was just checking the way the fret would seat against a fretboard using this. This is another MusicNomad product, their MusicNomad fret gauge. It's got a few different gauges on there to measure, specifically for using it for measuring frets and stuff. I'm not going to get into it on this guitar because it really doesn't need anything, but this particular gauge is 0.004 inches, and it's meant to check how the fret is seated against the wood. And after tapping it, it seems fine. So let me just zoom in a little closer. I'll just give you a quick look at what I was doing here. So you would take the file and lay it against the fret like this. And you can see how I'm tapping against the side of the fret. Before, this little gauge was actually sliding underneath the fret, just a little bit. So it wasn't seated properly. So I just tapped it down with my little hammer. I used a piece of soft wood that I use just to place on the fret so I don't damage it, and use that to tap it back into place, and now it's good. And I was just comparing it to the other ones, and they all seemed fine. This was the only one that really stood out as far as being high, but it just wasn't seated right. So I'll just make a note of that fret, and I'll check it after I clean the fretboard and before I put the strings on, because if it's going to pop up again, well, I might have to either glue it or level it. We'll see what happens. But for right now, I'm just going to leave it. Okay, I started doing a light polishing on the frets. They're in really good shape, so there's no need to go too crazy on this. So I decided just to start with 1000 grit paper, just to remove any surface grime and what have you off the frets. Then I moved up to 300 just to start the polishing, and then up to 7000 grit just to give it a nice little shine. And then I just wiped down the fretboard just to get some of the shavings and stuff off. So I'll need to give the fretboard a more thorough cleaning, but for now it's fine. I've done up to here so far. This fret here is the high one I mentioned earlier that I'd shown that I had tapped back down. So from this point on, I'll just zoom in so you can see a little better. So this is the fret that had a bit of a lift on it. So from here back are the frets that I've polished, and this way are unfinished so far. So you can see it makes a big difference visually, and they feel super smooth. And once you get the strings on and start playing it, it's going to make a big difference in how it plays. But they're in really good shape. They were just a little dirty, a little oxidized. It'd been sitting for a while. So anyway, I'm going to carry on with the rest of this and do the same procedure. 1000 grit, 3000, and then 7000. And I'm just using the MusicNomad tracer kit, but I'm just using the tool in this case. And I'm wrapping my sandpaper around the tool like this and then polishing that way. And then once I'm done, I just move the paper to a clean spot and carry on from there. It's a little easier to see on this piece here. You can see the marks I've left already. And that's just something I sort of kind of came across myself. I've used this before in other videos with the loops that come with this kit. They're quite good. I'll put links to this in the description as well. I would recommend this kit if you're looking. It's a great place to start because it gives you everything you need to do fret work and fret polishing as far as the sanding and polishing aspect of fret work go anyway. But I'm finding using these pieces of sandpaper and just holding them as I'm polishing works really, really well too, especially when you're not giving it a full fret level like this. So, or a full fret polishing, like it just doesn't need it. That's just more of a cleanup than anything else. So I'm going to carry on with that, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like when it's done, and then we'll finish cleaning the fretboard, and then we'll put some conditioning on it and get the strings back on. Okay, I've finished with the fretwork. I checked that one fret that was lifting a little bit, and I checked it again with the fret rocker, and it's fine. So I'm just going to leave it. I think it'll be okay. It was just a little bit lifted, so I didn't do any additional spot leveling or anything like that. I just did the quick polish on the frets. So that's all done now. And next, I'm going to just give the fretboard a quick cleaning. It's not all that dirty, so I'm just going to use the Music Dunlop, or I'm sorry, the Dunlop kit that I've shown this in other videos. This guitar fretboard kit. Now this kit comes with two products, the 01, which is like a cleaner, and then the 02, which is the conditioning component of the two. I've used the 01 for quite a while, and I really like it. It works really really well. It does have a very strong odor though, so be aware if you're using it for the first time. And I've used the 02 only once on a previous video with the Fender Squier P bass that I did recently, and I was really happy with how this worked. So I'm going to use it again on this guitar. So this neck is fairly clean, this fretboard. So I'm just going to use a rag and with the 01 on it and just give it a wipe. There were a few spots that are a little, just got a few scuff marks that may have been from me when I was doing a little of the polishing. Sometimes when you're doing that, your sandpaper or your fret eraser, whatever you're using, you might slip off the fret a bit and just scuff the fretboard. It's not really doing anything damage wise to the fretboard because those grits are so high. It's just leaving like like a scuff mark, like a smudge almost. But sometimes just using a rag and wiping isn't enough. So whenever I encounter something like that, I usually use a piece of synthetic steel wool. Now this stuff here is 4/0. It's the same as the 4/0 steel wool as far as the grade goes. And it really does no damage at all, but it just gives it enough of an abrasive to help remove any kind of surface stuff that you may have put on there inadvertently while you're doing your polishing and stuff like that. I don't think I need to use it on this particular fretboard. Yeah, there's like one little mark here which I'll use it on, but if I can't get it off with the rag, and I'll leave links to that in the description as well. So I'm just going to spray a little bit on the fretboard here. I'd like to maybe do like about half the fretboard, and that's just a preference. This stuff does dry fairly quick, and I'm not 100% sure what's in there. Some kind of alcohol base, I would imagine, just because of the odor and how quickly it does dry. So just wiped it on and then wiped it off with the dry section of the rag. And I'll show you, there we go. So that's what I took off right there on this small section here. Now some of that is a little discoloration from the wood itself, right? It's not all dirt and grime. But this is a fairly clean fretboard, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. Yeah, a little bit more. So, yeah, that's all I'm going to do here. I'll just probably speed the video up at this point and do the remainder of the neck here, so you don't have to watch it all in regular time. I can see a little mark here. I'm not sure if that was from me or from just wear and tear. It's just a small little smudge mark, so I'm going to just use that little bit of steel wool, or the synthetic steel wool, I should say. Just going to spray a little bit of the cleaner on there and just lightly rub it. And there's a little mark here. I might as well do them both. And you don't have to worry too much if you're going to hit your frets at all with this stuff as well, because it is such a fine grade. You're really just, you're really just polishing at that point. You're not really sanding or scraping anything. I mean, a very, very light amount, but nothing that's going to scuff up your nicely polished frets. Yeah, that seems to have taken those out. So yeah, it was probably just me when I was doing some polishing. Like sometimes you'll slip a bit and you'll just scuff up the fretboard. It's no big deal. It comes off. It's not damaging anything. So that looks good. I'm just going to give it a quick once over under the magnifier with the light. Let me see a little tiny mark right here. That's got that. Okay, so that should do it for the cleaning. Last I checked on Amazon anyway, that's where I get most of my products. This kit was currently unavailable at the time of this filming, but you still can buy the 01 and the 02 individually if you want. I'm not sure if that kit was just out of stock when I was looking or if they've discontinued it. I'm not really sure, to be honest with you, but you can buy them individually, which is nice. So as far as the conditioning goes, we're going to give the bottle a good shake. Now this applicator has got the little dabber end on it, so you just want to dab it on the fretboard. Don't squeeze it, just press it down until some product starts coming out. There we go. And personally, when I do any kind of conditioning like this, I like to put a little bit on and do 2 or 3 lighter coats as opposed to one heavier coat. Well, it should be good for now. So I'm just going to use a clean section of my rag and just work that conditioner in. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do for now. I'm going to let it sit on there for a few minutes, let it absorb a bit, and then I will put a second coat on it. It absorbed quite quickly, but again, it was a very thin, light coat. Okay, I went a little bit heavier on this second coat because it did absorb so quickly, that first coat. And same process again, just going to work it in, removing the excess at the same time. And I'll just let that sit on there again for another few minutes. I may put a third coat on. We'll see how it is. And yeah, if I do put a third coat on, it'll be the same thing. So the only other thing I'm going to do, and I won't film it. I'll just tell you. Once I'm finished everything, I'm just going to give it a light clean up with the the guitar one from MusicNomad, just to wipe off the finger marks and stuff like that I was put on there before I put the strings on. It's just easier to clean parts of the guitar, like the headstock, this area here, and in between the pickups, stuff like that. And just give it a wipe down. There's no polishing or buffing in this video, so I'll just do that off camera so the video doesn't run too terribly long. So yeah, I'll probably put a third coat on there, but you can already see it made a pretty nice difference to that wood. It darkens it a little bit and just makes it look nice and clean and just really nice looking. Yeah, I mean, I really like unfinished fretboards like this. You can really clean them up and make them look really nice. So that'll do it for this video. I think in part 2, yeah, we'll just focus on the setup of the guitar in part 2. So that'll be it for this one, and we will see you in part 2.